Greetings, my name is Angela, and at 31 years old, I am a proud mother to my son, Scott. He is the absolute joy of my life, and I'm grateful to call him mine. Unfortunately, there was a period when this ownership was uncertain, leading to a dilemma caused by my husband, Thomas. Since the birth of Scott, Thomas has become noticeably colder and more distant. This shift coincided with the distressing diagnosis of his sister, Kelly, who was declared infertile at the hospital. This revelation was a profound shock for everyone, especially Kelly, whose dreams of having children were shattered by this grim news. The impact of Kelly's situation was not only disheartening for her, but also hurt Thomas, who was extremely close to his sister. Psychologists suggest that Thomas's growing coldness towards us, and Scott in particular, may be attributed to the reminder that Scott represented what his sister could never have, a painful reality that continually weighed on him. The emotional distance from Thomas persisted and intensified, reaching a point where we found ourselves living with a man unrecognizable from the person he once was. In his innocence, Scott began to notice the change, questioning why his daddy seemed so mean and uninterested in playing. I tried to reassure him, telling him that his daddy loved us very much but faced challenges. Being dishonest with my son weighed heavily on me. The truth was, I questioned if Thomas still loved us, as he made no effort to acknowledge special occasions like birthdays. While I could forgive him for forgetting my birthday, overlooking Scott's special day was unforgivable. Scott was heartbroken, wondering why his daddy had forgotten his birthday. Determined to address the situation, I assured Scott that I would talk to his father and make sure he made it up to him. Frustration and anger welled within me, realizing that I needed to confront Thomas, set things straight, and bring clarity to his troubled mind. How could you possibly forget Scott's birthday? It was the one simple thing I asked of you, especially considering you're no longer around. What are you even talking about? Scott's birthday. How could you forget? I understand you have a lot on your mind, but it's essential to fulfill such basic requests. I apologize, all right? I've just been dealing with a lot, and being around Scott reminds me of my sister's unfortunate situation. I can't bear it. I get that you love your sister, and it's tough for you, but you can't neglect your responsibilities at home. We have a son together, and you should be there for him, no matter what. Look, you don't have siblings, so you wouldn't understand. Kelly is my twin sister, and I love her dearly. We were supposed to have kids so they could play together and strengthen our sibling bond. So you had kids just to be twinned with your twin? That's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard. Why would you do that? It's our special sibling pact that we made. You wouldn't understand. So you forgot our son's birthday because you were upset about a sibling pact. I know things haven't been great between us, but I'm working on a solution. I'll let you know when everyone involved is present. The next day came around and it would change my life forever. I was upset with everything that had happened. Thomas came home early bringing a special surprise. Hello, Angela, come see who I brought with me. Oh, Kelly, it's been a long time. How have you been holding up? I've been well. I'm excited about today's discussion. Thomas hadn't told me it would come so soon. Time is of the essence, Angela. Let's get straight to it. We gathered in the living room, sinking into the couches, awaiting Thomas's announcement, which turned out to be the most unsettling revelation he could have made to me. As he disclosed, as we all know, Kelly isn't okay, Martha. I can't express how many sleepless nights I've spent pondering your predicament. It shakes me to the core, asks Angela. Angela hesitated before responding. Well, okay, yeah. I have observed Thomas distancing himself from Scott and me. I won't deny it any longer because I figured out the solution to our problems, Angela. Thomas admitted. You know that my distance is due to Scott. I can't bear to look at him, knowing my sister deserves motherhood more than I could be a father. So Kelly and I decided to give our son to her for a better life. Stunned, Angela exclaimed, What? Isn't he such a wonderful brother? Were you two inhaling toxic fumes or something? How many fingers am I holding up? Thomas responded seriously. Be serious, Angela. I am being serious. Anybody who thinks that is okay is not all right in the head. Kelly appeared dejected and tensions rose. Thomas defended, Listen, Angela, I'm not in the mood for your shenanigans. Angela and Scott protested, How could you say such a thing, Thomas? What will Scott think? He already believes you don't love him. Kelly interjected, But I am his mom. Infuriated, Angela was ready to confront Kelly when she attempted to soften her stance, saying, I just mean that, Angela. You're a wonderful girl. Remember your wedding night? You were nervous, and I told you everything would be all right because you and Thomas were made for each other. Well, in some deep and maybe even crazy way, I feel that Scott is my son, my twin brother. We share a profound connection, particularly through soul ties. What I mean is that I feel deeply connected to your son because my brother and I are so intertwined that we're essentially the same person. Do you comprehend the extent of our connection? I grasp that if you persist in uttering nonsensical statements, I'm on the verge of resorting to physical action. Angela, please calm down and consider the situation carefully. Why else do I sense a lack of connection with Scott? Perhaps it's because you actively avoid communicating and establishing a bond with your son. Alternatively, it could be that he was never intended to be my son. He was always meant to be Kelly's. I'm on the verge of passing out. You wouldn't understand our unique connection. You and Thomas are both disturbed if it hasn't been made abundantly clear. There's no way you're taking Scott from me without going through my first. I apologize, but if you refuse to agree to this new arrangement, we may have no choice but to pursue a divorce. What? Is you serious right now? Are you comprehending the gravity of your words? I am dead serious. If you don't comply with this new agreement, I'll initiate divorce proceedings, and given my financial standing, I'll likely secure custody of Scott. We can handle this amicably or confront it the hard way. I stood up and defiantly spat in Thomas's face. If you want a divorce, let's proceed with it. You'd be doing Scott and me a favor. Your family needs serious help and strong medication for your delusions. I'm relieved to finally be free of you. I wish I had seen your true self sooner. See you in court. With that, I rushed to Scott, who was sleeping in his room, and he asked, Mommy, what's going on? Hello, my sleepyhead. I regret disturbing your rest, but we've got to move quickly. Why? Well, because you're my special one, and I've planned something special for you. Remember that hotel we visited a few months ago? Yes, the one with the pool and the monkey bars. Exactly, baby. We're heading there right now, but we need to pack in a hurry. Mommy will assist you, but she needs to pack too. What about Daddy? Can he help us? Or is he too occupied again? Unfortunately, Daddy can't join us at the hotel today, sweetheart. Why not? I want Daddy to come with us. I understand, baby. Maybe we can visit Daddy at home sometime while you and I have a fantastic time at the hotel, okay? Scott seemed devastated, unable to grasp the situation fully. His innocence couldn't comprehend the absurdity he witnessed today. It felt like I was on autopilot, rushing to pack our essentials and heading to the car in the garage. As I started to pull out of the driveway, I noticed Thomas and Kelly trying to stop us, but I didn't care. I drove off swiftly, silently saying goodbye to a life I once knew. Scott and I reached the hotel and settled in. Despite my efforts to keep him entertained during the week we spent there, his yearning for his father intensified each day we were apart. I didn't know what to do. I knew I had to confront my demons. The last time Thomas and I spoke was when I received that dreadful news a week ago. He didn't even bother to text or call to check up on us. Kelly, on the other hand, played the concerned role, expressing worry for us and urging me to come back home to resolve the issue. But in my eyes, there was nothing to sort out. What kind of maniac suggests such a thought? I was still trying to make sense of it all, but the first thing on my agenda was to talk to my baby. My sweet Scott, I've noticed your recent inquiries about Daddy, and it pains me to say this. Daddy is attempting to take you away from me and place you in Auntie Kelly's care. Oh, that's fine. Just for the weekend, right? I want to have a sleepover with Daddy and Auntie Kelly. No, sweetheart, that's not what I mean. Daddy and Auntie Kelly are trying to separate you from me permanently, but I don't want to stay with her forever. I understand, baby, and that's why I brought you here, to prevent them from taking you away. I know you're scared, but listen to me. As long as I'm breathing, no one will even think to take you away from me again. I will always be with you. Whether Scott's quick understanding was due to a lack of clarity or a thorough grasp, I will never know. I just knew that I was grateful for his apparent cooperation at the time. As the saying goes, speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Just as Scott and I concluded our emotional conversation, Thomas called. I discreetly answered, realizing that these games had gone on for long enough. You know, the reason I let you go that day was out of grace. Angela, you should be thanking me. I thought you'd have a couple of final days with your son before he goes to his rightful mother. But now my patience has worn thin. You're sick, and you'll pay for what you're trying to do. You will always fail when it comes to doing what's best for Scott. Tell me where you are right now. I'm on my way to retrieve the kid. I'd rather endure the discomfort of walking on hot coals than disclose my location willingly to you, Scott. Know that Scott won't be going anywhere unless it's alongside me. Let this sink into your disturbed and diseased mind. Angela, we'll meet in court. I didn't want it to come to this, truly I didn't. But you've left me with no choice. I'll make sure you never see him again. I swear it's game on, Thomas. You'll regret this. I hung up the phone, panting and bewildered, realizing how rapidly my life had turned upside down. All I ever wanted was to do what's best for Scott. That was my constant goal. Yet for some reason, Thomas and Kelly failed to comprehend that. As I contemplated how to navigate the situation in a way that guaranteed my victory and their significant loss, I paced and pondered. Then it hit me. I started brainstorming possible password combinations. I needed some leverage, and Thomas was correct about one thing. Having influential connections can easily tip the scales in court. Unfortunately, I lacked such connections, so I decided to gather some dirt on Thomas. I logged into his email, attempting various combinations like birthdays and names. After many failed attempts, I tried Kelly's name, and to my surprise, it worked. It was eerie how fixated he was on his sister. Although I was cautious due to his suspicious behavior with Kelly, nothing prepared me for what I discovered. Upon typing Kelly's name in the search bar, I was inundated with numerous email chains and threads between Thomas and Kelly, revealing unsettling activities, to say the least. As I delved deeper, it appeared to be some form of cultist practice they were involved in. The threads contained thousands of conversations, and upon opening a couple, I was utterly petrified. The emails portrayed Thomas and Kelly engaging in shady activities, accompanied by disturbing pictures of seemingly random objects. I observed a recurring phrase in their emails, concluding with "Praise be to higher brother," accompanied by what seemed like coded language. As I delved deeper into my search for answers, it genuinely appeared that they were discussing unsettling topics such as the Illuminati and government conspiracies. The emails detailed disturbing conspiracy theories, and most alarmingly, they discussed making sacrifices to this higher brother. My intuition prompted me to search for Scott in the bar, and part of me wished I hadn't. Countless emails between Kelly and Thomas focused on Scott, discussing not only plans to separate him from me, but also intending to recruit and indoctrinate him into their disturbing practices. To say I was flabbergasted would be an understatement. I was utterly horrified. Shaking with fear, I knew I had to expose this sick behavior to ensure Scott wouldn't be taken away from me. Compiling all the details, I reached out to my lawyer. Inadvertently, the news leaked on Twitter, spreading like wildfire among those hungry for drama. By the day's end, the story had garnered thousands of views, and I received messages and calls from Thomas and Kelly, which I chose to ignore. Their angry threats only fueled the growing fire of justice that was swiftly closing in on them. Fast forward a couple of months, Scott and I moved out of the hotel to live with my mom, and the divorce proceedings concluded. During the divorce, Thomas faced trial for conspiring to commit child endangerment alongside his sister. The irrefutable evidence against him was so substantial that no amount of bribing or schmoozing could mitigate his sentence, let alone grant him custody over Scott. Thomas and Kelly served jail time for their crimes, and in return, I was granted the house to live in with Scott. He was all mine, as he always was. Discovering the true nature of his father, the innocent love Scott once had transformed into a rational aversion. My child was discovering that not everyone in his life had his best intentions at heart, even those who were supposed to. At times, especially when commencing a sentence, it felt like a deliberate attempt to worsen the already painful wounds. I would visit the penitentiary, paying a visit to my ex-husband. "You did this to me," he accused. "No, Thomas, you did this to yourself. I merely wanted to witness your downfall. Look, I'll consider changing. I need to testify that what you found was fake, that someone is conspiring against me. I can't endure this any longer. Honey, it's been 5 days, and you're supposed to be here for at least 6 more years. I'll get you for this. You'll rue the day you met me. If you dare try to take Scott from me again, I'll uncover more dirt to ensure you never leave this place. Got that?" With that, I would exit the prison, laughing, grateful for how things turned out in the end. The sudden fame surrounding Thomas and Kelly, now dubbed the sinister siblings of the sect, allowed me to participate in numerous interviews and secure various brand deals to share my story. I did this to establish a stable income, support my new life as a single mom, and of course assist those who needed to hear a story like mine. People often believe such things can happen to them. Trust me, I thought I was an average woman with nothing extraordinary in her life. Yet, here I am, surprised and shocked that something like this could happen to me. I hope you all gleaned something from my experience.